Hello, welcome to another KIE Live session. And today we are here to talk a little bit more about a new generation of authoring tools. Porcelli, tell me more about it.
Sure. Hi, Karina. Hi, everyone. Yes, today we are officially launching a new generation of authoring tools. So the tools that we've been using for dmn.new, bpmn.new, or pml.new, we got a major upgrade. And today we will learn a lot about this upgrade.
Yeah, and we'll hear about it directly from one of the core developers on the authoring tool, who is Tiago Bento. I will invite you now to the group. Hey, Tiago, welcome, and thank you for sharing more about it with us today.
Hello, Karina. Hello, Alex. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm
Pleasure to be
looking
here.
forward to learning more about the changes there because not only this set of tools got its own domain, like we can access it directly instead of only accessing the bpmn.new or dmn.new, but it actually got a whole story put together. So, can you give just a glimpse on what's coming, Tiago? What can we
Yeah.
expect from today's talk?
Okay. As you said, now we are calling it the KIE Sandbox, which was previously known as the .new environment because you were allowed to type .dmn.new and bpmn.new, pml.new. But now you can also type sandbox.key.org, and you're going to be redirected to the tool. And of course, the old URL still works, so dmn.new is as good as always.
Ooh, and can I expect a little bit of deployment also in today's demonstration or only authoring? How does that go?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is to walk through the new capabilities of the tool and show like how like a very basic workflow would happen in this new tool. So we're going to create models from scratch. We're going to test them using the Dmn Runner. We're going to deploy it to share with other people, and we're going to integrate with GitHub. And in the end, we're going to be integrating it with the developer's most beloved tool, like we said in the description of the KIE Live.
That's awesome.
Oh, awesome. So, Porcelli, any last thoughts before we get started?
No, I'm eager to see what Tiago has to show us.
All right, Tiago, I'm going to share your screen now.
Okay.
And as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it on the chat, and we'll be here on the backstage watching for it. Bye bye. Good talk.
Thanks, Karina. Thanks, Alex. So yeah, I'm going to skip the slides because the next one is already the demo. And in the end, I'm going to do a recap of the things that we saw. So let's jump straight ahead to the KIE Sandbox. So here you can see we have a new home screen that has been redesigned thanks to the UX team. Thanks, Missy, if you're watching. So basically, you have the same capabilities as before, but now it's more clear what the types of models are for, and we have like a new like we have a visual refresh, which is something that I think we were needing in the old version. So what I'm going to show is how you can start modeling a decision, and we're going to go from there all the way to deploying it to the sandbox. So we can start by creating a new decision, and I'm going to give it a name because I already know what we're going to build. So this will be the is adult decision. This decision basically will create, will output a Boolean saying whether or not a person is an adult. So let's create the input node for person, and let's do the decision itself. So is adult. And right now, you can see here at the bottom that we have three problems with this model. So first, the person input node is missing its type. Same for the decision, and the decision is also empty here. So let's start by creating a type for this person. Let's call it T person. And this is going to be a structure with one property that's going to be the age. Very simple. So if we go back to the editor, we can now assign this type here, like it would normally do. The problem here is gone. So now it's just a matter of us saying that this is going to be a Boolean, and let's give it an expression. So person.age greater than or equal to 18. This is good enough for this decision. And as always, we can test using the Dmn Runner. By the way, we have specific KIE Lives for Dmn Runner. So if you're not familiar with it, please go ahead and watch it. It's very interesting. And you can see that I am connected to the KIE Tooling Extended Services, which is basically the tool that powers the Dmn Runner. So let's quickly test it. Person age 12, not an adult, 20, adult. Okay, good enough for me. Now, one of the most interesting things that we are introducing in this new version is the capability of adding a set of files together. So those who are familiar with DMN know that you can add included models to a specific DMN decision and import parts of the included model. So on this example today, I'm going to be importing data types. So we can start doing that. Let me close the runner and the problems tab. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this new button here to create a new decision. Great. So now we have some modifications to the screen with a label that says ephemeral here and untitled folder. That's because every time you're in a file and you decide to create a new one from this file you were in, these two files together become a folder. And they are logically related. So you can think it as like a local folder in your computer, but living here inside the tool. So let me give it a name, my folder will do. And let me change the decision name. So this one will be the can drink decision. Good. So let me just go back to the home screen really quickly for you to see what happened. First, we got this alert here saying that I have new changes that I didn't download. So this is just for users to understand that everything is stored in the browser. So if they want to persist it in their computer, they have to click the download, and instantly you have the My Folder zip downloaded. So you are sure you're not going to lose it. Everything's stored here. If you close the browser and you bring it back up, it will be here. But for example, if you open an incognito window or another browser, your files won't be there. So this is just an extra caution that we added for people to understand it. So let's go back to the home screen. And now, one thing that's different from before is that we have the list of files here at the bottom. In this case, it's already a folder. But if I create, for example, a sample workflow here, you're going to see that this is not a folder yet because it's a single file living on its own. And if I go back to the home screen, now you see that both are listed here. So they are logically separated. And more than that, if I go back to the sample, and for some reason, if I add like a PMML file, for example, then these two become another folder. So my other folder. And same thing applies. Now you have to download. In this case, I'm just going to not download it. So just to showcase how things are grouped in this new tool. Great. So let's go back to our DMN example. As you can see, when it's a folder, you can click the card here and a drawer pops up. And let's go to the can drink decision, which is the one we're going to be modeling now. Good. So the can drink is going to be a very simple decision too. We're going to have the same person, and this is going to be a decision that outputs a Boolean saying whether a person can drink or not legally in a specific country. So let's do that. There's going to be a person And right now, if I try to add the data type, I'm not going to have it because I need to add the other file as an included model. So let's do it. Include model. Let's select the is-adult decision. So is-adult decision. And if you go back to the editor, and now I click here, sorry, I didn't refresh. I don't know why, but now the person is here. So we just gave it a type, and we can create a decision from here. So can drink, same thing. But now to give a little bit more of complexity to this decision here, let's create a new node, call it location, and we're going to create a new data type that's going to be local to this file. So let's call it location. This is also going to be a structure. And inside my location, I'm going to have a country. By the way, let me rename this to T location, just for the sake of standards. And let's edit this. This will be the country. And it's going to be a string with a constraint that this is an enumeration. So this is going to be US and Brazil. Because these two countries, Brazil. Two countries have different age limits for drinking. Good. So now we have the person that we imported from the first file, and we have a new data type on this file that is the location with a country that accepts two values, US or Brazil. Let's go back to the editor and assign this type to the location input node and connect them. Great. So now what I'm going to show is something that's also new to this version, which is the ability of running a decision as a table. So first, let me complete this decision, and we can jump to the table in a second. So basically, I'm going to create a decision table that is going to, let me just make this bigger a little bit, to decide. So in the US, if you are older than 21, you can drink, right? I think that's it. And duplicate this. And if you're not, then you can't. But in Brazil, you can start drinking a little bit younger. So 18 is going to be true. And one more, less than 18, false. Great. So now I can test it. So like if I'm 20, back here, if I'm 20 and I am in the US, I cannot drink. But if I'm in Brazil, then I can. Good. So now our decision is a little bit more complex than the first one. So that's why we introduced the tabular input capability to the Dmn Runner. So now we were editing things in a form, and we decided to switch to the table view. So I can have multiple like simulation scenarios, which will help me visualize whether my decision is working as intended or not. So like if I am 20 and I am in the US, then I cannot drink. But if I'm 21, then I can. And there's just a missing case here, which is going to be like underage in Brazil. So yeah, we have a good testing scenario for this decision. And let's say we're very confident that this works, but we need to verify like if we did is enough with another person on the team. So for those who are already familiar with the tool, you know that we can deploy it to an Openshift instance. So this is exactly what we're going to do now. And it's very simple. You just click on try on Openshift and select deploy. You can confirm it here. And in this version, deploying is a lot faster. So we changed the way we send the files to the deployed instance. So now we don't have to build an image for it. so it's much faster. And basically, I'm talking about it so that we give it proper time for it to deploy. It takes about 30 seconds every time I do it. Let's, yeah, okay. So right now, I took both files that I was editing, and I deployed it to the Openshift instance. So now if I click here to see my deployments and I select this one, what I will see is a form just like the one we were doing. And I just realized that I did something wrong, and this will not work because I forgot to do something very important. I have to change the names of the decisions. So this is the can drink, and this one is going to be the is adult. I just did the same error while I was practicing, so thank God I remembered. Okay, so this is saved. Okay, let's try again. Deploy. By the way, when you deploy an instance, it is immutable, so you don't have to worry about keeping it updated. So every time you make a change, just deploy a new one, and you can share the link again. Don't need to like keep taking care of an instance that you have. So
And
it takes
here
about 30
you are
seconds.
using the sandbox, the developer sandbox, that is a free cluster.
Yeah, exactly. So right now I am authenticated to the Red Hat Developer Sandbox for OpenShift, but if I'm not wrong, you can use your own OpenShift instance if you have one. It's just a matter of you going to the settings, and you're going to see a form here, and you're going to change. I decided to have it authenticated for this
Pretty
demo.
good.
Yeah, it takes a while to do it, so.
And when you deploy a new version, it creates a new pod, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Actually, some artifacts are created. They sum up to create an application. So I think we create routes, we create a service. So yeah, some things are created there, not
All
just
right.
only, yeah.
Very
Okay,
nice.
so
Thank you.
it's deployed, and we can open it. Now it's going to work as intended because I did everything right. So our is adult decision is here. So again, 12 and like 19. Okay, works as expected. And now we have the other one, which also should be working. So US false, Brazil. Yeah, I know this was small, right, Karina? Sorry.
Tiago, would you mind sharing the link for us to try it on our side too?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Let me just send that to you.
Thank
And
you.
maybe also refer that there's the Swagger link as well in this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So here at the header, you're going to see a link to the Swagger API. So if you want to integrate with this like development deployment of your decisions, you can use this API that's automatically generated by Kogito to call the services and check whether or not like it's integrating well with some other application. Yeah. So yeah, this is the developer sandbox for multiple files in the new KIE Sandbox. So continuing our little story here, now I have two decisions, and they both use parts of one another to create like a set of services that we are like creating for our company. Let's assume that. And right now, I already did all the steps. Like I validated it locally using the runner. I used the Dmn Runner table to test multiple scenarios. Then I deployed it to the Dmn Dev Sandbox on Openshift and shared that with my peers. So now I'm very confident that this project that I'm doing is ready to become a GitHub repository. And this is where the GitHub integration comes into play here at the KIE Sandbox. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform this ephemeral folder that lives only in my browser in a GitHub repo. So I can like unlock collaboration capabilities with my team that I didn't have before because everything was stored locally here in my browser. So let's do it. To create a GitHub repo, you want to go to the share menu and select this item here. But for us to do that, we have to authenticate with GitHub. So basically, because this is a front-end only application, we don't have the OAuth workflow on GitHub. So you have to paste your token here. But luckily, creating it is very simple. So let's do it really quickly. You can use this link we provide here. And if you're already authenticated with GitHub, you're going to be directed to this page. And I already have one created. This one is the one I'm going to use in a moment. Good name there. So, and one particular thing that you have to do is you have to put the right scopes. So let's create like, I'm not going to create anything, but I'm just showing you how to do it. So you have to select the repo scope because this is the one that gives you permission to create repositories. And if you want to create gists, you have to select this one as well. I'm not going to go over gists here, but you're free to test it on your own. The idea is pretty much the same. You just use the create gist button instead of create repository. So I'm not going to do it because I don't want to generate a token right now, but I'm going to get one from my machine here and paste it here. Great. So now I am authenticated with GitHub. And as you can see, I did not have the gists enabled in my token. I just have the private repositories here. So if we go back to our models, we will see that now these buttons are enabled. So let's select the create repository here. And you see a model with the name of your repository that you want to create. So let's put something like KIE Live Sandbox GitHub Repo. I don't know. And you can choose between public and private. For the sake of the demo, I'm just going to go and create it as a public one. So I can create it. And right now, my ephemeral folder became a GitHub repository. So I can go to GitHub and check that everything's there. I already have 3 commits because when I download, we do a commit under the hood. But yeah, our files are there. And one thing that, for those who don't know, we have a Chrome extension that actually allows you to see the models inside GitHub directly. So this is our, which one? Can drink decision. It's here. And we also have the other one, which is the adult decision. Great. So directly from GitHub, we can make a change to these files. And let's see what happens when I do so. So let's maybe change this one. So let's say I want to change the wording here from adult to grown up. So I can do it here, and I can commit. And as you can see, it's not updated because GitHub has a cache, and that's not our fault. So let's go back to the tool. And right now, we have a new menu here that allows us to pull and push. So because we know that someone made a change directly on the repo, and we want to take this change and see it directly on the KIE Sandbox, we can simply pull, and this will update the model and show the changes that other people did there. Similarly, if you want to make a change here in push, you can do too. So we can like change the layout a little bit here and push. By the way, pay attention to these indicators here. They tell you when you have changes in your working set of files. So like now I have local changes. If I try to go back, it will warn me. And if I try to push, then for a brief moment, I'll be out of sync, and then I'll be synced again, which means that everything that's here is in sync with the files that are actually in the GitHub repository. So if we go back, oops, wrong tab. If I go back here, I can probably click on this button because this one is not cached. Yes, and see the changes here. Great. So now we're talking with GitHub directly, and we have new buttons on our folder here. But let's say that I didn't start from KIE Sandbox, and I want to go to the GitHub repo and start working on it. So what I can do is I can go on the homepage of the repo and select this button here. And this is added by our Chrome extension. So now that we have the capability of working with GitHub repos in the KIE Sandbox, we decided to put it there, this button here. So you can simply click it, and we're going to import this project. And basically, you have everything there as well. If we go back to the home screen, you're going to see that we have 2 copies of it. Actually, 3. OK, duplication problem here. Let's address that later. I'll delete just one for now. But what I did here is I cloned that repo again. So now I have the first copy, which is the one that I've been creating from scratch. And when I imported the project, I created a new copy here, which is like essentially the same that would happen if you did a git clone in your terminal tab. So you can do pretty much the same things. So I can go ahead and like create a sample here just to illustrate that it works. And this will be like cloned GitHub. And now the samples here, I have local changes, and I will push. It's pushed. So if I go back to the other one, which I created 24 minutes ago, the sample is not here. But if I pull, it will be. You get it, right? OK, it's here. Cool. So now we have the capability of editing models in the KIE Sandbox and in GitHub directly. But some people are more comfortable with working on other tools like VS Code, which in the beginning we said that it was the developers' most beloved tool. So we are integrated with GitHub, VS Code on the vscode.dev and VS Code desktop. For the sake of this demo, I will open this repository in vscode.dev. And just like they do, just to show that this is something important, if I make a change here and I try to open it there, you're going to see a warning because you did not push your changes. So when you open it in vscode.dev, your changes will not be there. So if I undo here, then the undo. OK, let's push. I maybe changed something else. So let's go ahead and make a push here. Great. So now I am synced. And the warning is gone. So when I open it in vscode.dev, everything that I see there will be exactly the same things that I see on the KIE Sandbox. So let's do it. Takes a while to load. Karina, is the font size OK? Please tell me.
So far, it looks good.
OK.
Let's
great.
see as we move forward.
Thanks. And yeah, so now I have the same files that I was editing in the KIE Sandbox. Now I'm in vscode.dev. And thanks to our VS Code extension, we can also see it as a diagram. So for example, the can drink decision, we can open it here. Same thing, make some layout changes, like I don't know. Let's put all the nodes here together and maybe take them here. Good. So now I made my changes on vscode.dev, and we can use their integration with Git and simply like layout changes on can drink decision and simply commit it to the same repo that we're here. And if we switch to that file and we pull, then you're going to see exactly the same thing that you or someone else edited in vscode.dev. So yeah, this was a lot of me talking. So I hope this is interesting. We have some other minor tools, like you can delete files, you can import files from URLs, you can upload from your computer, you can use some samples like I showed. Yeah, that's basically it that I have for today.
Great. I have the first question.
Okay, go ahead.
What happens if I'm doing a change in my browser and someone do the same change in the same file, and I try to push and it fails?
Right. So
I'm
when you
stuck
try
in
to,
the browser?
sorry?
Am I stuck in the browser?
No, actually, what happens when you try to push and it fails is that probably someone pushed before you, right? And you have to pull first. So what can happen is when you're pulling from the GitHub repo or any repo, you can have a conflict. And if that happens, we cannot solve it in the browser. But what we can do is we can go to VS Code, use their conflict resolution tools, push to the branch that we're working on, and continue working there. But also, one thing that we added for you to not have to deal with the conflicts immediately is the ability of ignoring that pull that failed, creating a new branch, and work on your branch without being bothered by changes that other people are making to your branch. So I can try to show it really quickly. I didn't test it though. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it would be cool. Maybe open in GitHub and make a decision, change you one of the decision, and make it the same change in the file in the sandbox.
Okay, let's do it. So I am here in the is adult decision, right? So what I'm going to do is let's push so that everything is in sync. Great. Okay, so now if I open this one in, oops, the alert is gone. Let's take the URL from here. So if I open this in GitHub and I make a change to this, for example. So like, let's go to editing, and I am going to like shift, like put it here at the top. Okay, and now I'm going to commit it directly to the main branch. As you know, the cache won't update, but if we go back here, I'm not going to pull, because if I did, it would succeed. Instead, I'm going to make a change that will conflict with that other one. So I'm going to put the person node below the decision node and move it a little bit. So this will conflict for sure. So now if I try to push, error. Great, something happened. Let's try and pull. Oh, okay, there's an error pulling. So what happened is we have a conflict, and you now have the ability to switch to a new branch. This is a random name that we generate, and if you click it, what's going to happen is we're going to push the new changes to a new branch, and we're going to proceed anyway because we don't want to push this repository. And if we do, we now have a new clone on a new branch without the need of pulling and pushing with the main branch that is like shared with other people. Now, if I make my changes here like this, I'm free to pull and push whenever I want. And this branch is now listed here. So you can see your changes here, and you can like open PRs, a normal like development workflow. Yeah, thanks, Alex, for remembering that.
No,
Pretty
that's
cool.
very good. So you basically solve the conflict external. The tool is not meant, the sandbox is not meant to solve any conflicts.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are a lot of tools that try to make good UIs for solving conflicts, and like I use lots of them, but it's a really complex problem. And really, the idea of KIE Sandbox is to be simple. So if you like hit an edge case like that, and you want to get away with it, you can. So you can just create a new branch and continue working normally, and you can deal with the conflicts later. Or maybe the conflicts are solved automatically, like someone changed something and then they deleted the file, but you keep editing the file and edit again. So when you merge, the conflicts won't happen. But you're going to do it using a pull request or merging it externally.
Good.
Very nice. It's pretty exciting to see all these changes. Just so you know, I've stopped sharing your screen.
Okay.
Thank you so much for all this demonstration. We have a lot of excitement on the chat also. And Porcelli has addressed several questions already on the live chat too.
Mm-hmm.
So is the commit performed behind the scenes when I press the push button?
Yeah, so we try to simplify the Git workflow a lot for like the simplicity's sake. We don't want our tool to have like a full-blown Git integration, like you cannot execute Git commands or do some crazy stuff. You basically can move forward and work together with other people, hoping that conflicts won't happen. If they do, we have a way out. But basically, you can edit files, and then when you click push, we commit everything that's unstaged in your copy on the browser, and we push this new commit. So on the commit history, you're going to see one commit per push. And if you're working with an ephemeral folder, which is like not a GitHub repo, what's going to happen is when you download, we commit, because we know that you saved the files in your machine. And if you like want to do something else with this file, this set of files, you can.
Another question that we have
Mm-hmm.
from Fernando. The project created in KIE Sandbox may be exported to other editor?
Project created in KIE Sandbox, other editor. Yeah, like if you create a set of files in KIE Sandbox, you have the ability to download a zip with these files, and then it becomes a folder in your computer, so you can open it in VS Code, IDEA, any editor that you want. But I think, yeah, now I'm answering and thinking like, you mean the dmn opening in another dmn editor?
Well, I don't know. Maybe Fernando can clarify the question. But I think one thing that you've been using different words, like Fernando asked about the project, and we were talking about folder. I think there is a difference, and
Yeah.
I think it's on purpose, right? So
yeah. Okay, yeah, this something that we debated a lot internally, and really we didn't want to call the set of files a project, because it gives an idea that it's more complex than it is. And really, like I said, the idea is that the KIE Sandbox is a simple tool for you to like accomplish your tasks in a simple way. So like having it called a project would mean that like you now have a thing that only lives in KIE Sandbox, and that's not true. Like I showed that you can jump from VS Code and go back to KIE Sandbox and go on GitHub. You can download the zip file, use whatever editor you want, and you can upload it back. So like the whole point is to have a tool that allows you to not worry about maintaining a full-blown project. and really you can create like multiple copies of the same thing if you want, and it's so fast that you won't care. Like, we based our decisions a lot on the VS Code dev, for example, where you can simply go on Hub and with your project checked out. And really the experience is trying to bring some of the good parts of it to modeling decisions, workflows, and scorecards.
I think
Awesome.
sorry, Karina. One thing
Yeah.
to show is when you switch it to the GitHub, we didn't see any POM file or anything like
Yeah,
the structure. It's just a set of the models, so just the DMN files.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let me add to the stream so you can see. But
so you're sharing my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're sharing now.
I forgot. I have a recap on the slides if you guys want to
Oh.
go over it. Yeah. But
And-
keep the questions coming. Yeah.
There's actually one more question. We have seen the Dmn Runner. Is there any bpmn runner?
No, unfortunately, not yet. I know that the team is working on it, but for because of the nature of the files, it's much more complex to do a bpmn runner than a dmn runner, and we want to do it right. So we're experimenting with ideas on what the interface will look like for you to simulate your workflows. But right now, the running capabilities are limited to dmn only.
Awesome. And another question is regarding the types of assets that we include in this, in the sandbox. The question was regarding the supportability for BPMN and DRL. For BPMN, it is supported without the runner, although for DRL, it isn't, correct?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. Something that I didn't include in the demo. But if you have a folder in your computer, or even if you have like a GitHub repo that contains a lot of files, and some of these files are not like DMNs or BPMNs, what we do is we actually keep them internally in this clone of your repository or in the ephemeral folder of your upload. And we don't do anything with these files. So you can see that they're there, but you cannot edit or visualize them in any way. So this is just for us to focus on the modeling of the supported files, but it's something that we're considering adding in the future, probably the ability for you to like visualize the contents of some of other files like texts, images, and stuff like that. But right now, you can only see that they're there. You cannot interact with the files in any other way.
All right. And there's one more question from Paulo
just
Melo.
one.
Yeah,
I will
go
put
ahead.
you on the spot, Tiago. Can you try to clone one repository that we have that? I'm pasting in the chat. One
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot to do that, right? I clicked on the Open in KIE Sandbox button on the Chrome extension, but I didn't use a URL.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do it really quickly. You're sharing my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So let's add like a text file here really quickly. So create a new file. It's going to be like test.txt and like something. So commit new file. Yeah. So now we have like this text here. And if I copy the URL from GitHub and I paste it here, you're going to see that normal clone and your text file is here. So you can see that the files are there, but you cannot interact with them. It's just like listing. And it also appears at this page as well. By the way, you can clone like any repository. Just be aware that if your repository is really big, in the sense of like numbers of files, it can take a while.
And can I select a branch?
You can, but only using the URL. So let me just do it with another one. This repo is a mess, by the way. I use it for testing, so things are not like pretty. So I can like select a different branch. Yeah, you can see that I tested it. So let's select like branch A. And if I put like this URL, with the branch A selected and clone, then yeah, branch A is here. Oh, what a mess.
This is pretty useful indeed. Yeah, people are saying that they love the name of the branch, by the way.
Yeah.
And are there any plans to support collaborative editing, like on Google Docs?
Not right now. This is something we've been talking a lot about in the past as well. But it's a very complex thing, especially due to the nature. Like, this is a diagram and becomes an XML in the end. So yeah, we want to have it, obviously, but it's a very complex problem. And as with all the things, we want to do it right. So we don't have that yet.
I have more questions. The
Yeah.
next question is, do we have support for scenario simulation?
Not in this tool. If you create a scenario file in GitHub, you will see it and it will open correctly with the dmn selected and all that. But in the KIE Sandbox, we don't have the scenario editor enabled. Yeah, I mean,
you can use VS Code.
Yeah, you can use VS Code. It will work there as well. Like, you can even run the tests. But something that comes very close to the scenario editor is the table input for Dmn Runner. So you can do your tests there and maybe use the same data to create a scenario folder in VS Code. This is something that's possible. Actually, you have more questions? Because I talked about some of the things that we have planned for the future on the slides. Or do you want to finish the questions first and then we...
No, go ahead.
You can go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's really quickly. Just so I didn't do the slides for nothing. Let me show them. Okay, so just a quick recap. So the new KIE Sandbox allows you to create multiple sets of files that are separated logically, and you choose how to separate them. You can do it by uploading a folder from your computer, cloning a GitHub repo, or starting from scratch like I did in the demo. More than that, you can edit these files and add relationships between them. And what I showed was the dmn data types. You can verify your decisions locally with the Dmn Runner, and now with the more powerful table capability. And you can obviously share your decisions with others by deploying it to an Openshift instance. So this is multi-file. We also have the GitHub and VS Code extension, VS Code integration. So you can create a repo like we did. You can open a repo directly from github.com using the Chrome extension, and you can push and pull. And you can quickly jump to vscode.dev or VS Code desktop for that matter. And yeah, so talking about the future really quickly, one thing that we're going to do next is persisting the Dmn Runner inputs in the browser. So when you create a huge table during the development of a new decision, you're not going to lose your data anymore. So this version that is out right now everything is only in memory. Not the files, only the contents of the table. The files are persisted in the browser. But having the ability of saving the inputs that you give to the Dmn Runner table is going to be a lot. Is going to save you a lot of time, and also you will be able to import and export the set of inputs. Also, we're going to add better UX for visualizing the relationships between the models, included models with the data types that I showed. So this is something that should be more visible in the screen for you to not lose track of which files integrate with which. Also, something that's coming is the preview of the models. So when you're editing a decision or a workflow, we're going to generate SVG images automatically, and you'll be able to browse the files using this preview. So it might be much easier than using the name of the files. I actually used it a lot during development, but it wasn't ready in time. So it's not included in this version, but as soon as it is, it will be. And something that I think people are going to really like is that we're going to publish Docker images with the KIE Sandbox inside it. So you'll be able to own KIE Sandbox, whatever you want. Yeah, this is it for the future. Like, this is our like short-term goals for the KIE Sandbox.
Pretty exciting. I'm looking forward for all these inputs. Thank you, Tiago.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was awesome. Great presentation. Thank you. Can't wait to have all these features.
Me too.
So, which missing things would you say that are still missing in this tool to be used by companies that make intensive use of DMN modeling, apart from being integrated with other Gits such as GitLab?
Okay, this is a tricky question, right? Because everyone has different needs. And I think, Alex, you can back me up a little bit on this one.
Sure.
But yeah, I think we can improve a lot in the like UX capabilities, like visualizing relationships between the models, testing your DMN. You should have like some interaction by coloring nodes that are like hit by your tests. Like deploying could be simplified. We should have capabilities of other types of files, like PMMLs can be included in DMN. So there's a lot.
Yeah, but at the same time, one thing that I'd like to highlight is the simplified workflow that I want to keep. Like the existing tool like Business Central, that is another tool that we have, has a lot on it, complexities and it's becoming complex to use it. So many features. So we want to keep it simple. It may expand in different areas, as Tiago mentioned, or even mentioned by the question. Support for GitLab or things like that. Maybe even could do some work on. Well, we could expand that, but we will try to keep it simple, limited to the functionality to edit files, self-contained, not like it. We'll try not bring it out Java backend to build and build class path. For that, there are VS Code. That's important tool that complements. So they all work together well. And I think Tiago showed perfectly today that you can, using VS Code Dev, well integrated.
Yeah, and like other providers like GitLab and Bitbucket, it's a matter like of we seeing how many people are going to benefit from it and integrating well with it. Like we have the create repo capability on GitHub. We would have to implement the authentication with GitLab. So all these things introduce complexity, and this first version, we're actually experimenting to see how this will be used. And then we certainly have plans for improving on many areas that could be improved right now. But we have to like extract some data from this first version first.
Absolutely.
All right, pretty good. So I see people are already choosing like what their favorite features are. Like, yeah, +1 for Docker images, +1 for coloring nodes, +1 for enterprise offerings. So don't worry, this is just the beginning. Let's see what will come next. And thank you, Tiago, so much for your presentation today. Okay.
Thanks a lot for having me here. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
very
Have a
much.
great day. All right. So this is it. If you are curious about it or if you want to know more, just hit the how do you say, for Charlie? This is your statement. Hit the subscribe button.
Subscribe, like, exactly.
Yeah, and follow the KIE blog. Join us on the Zolab channel. We'll be happy to talk more about it. So we wish you a great day and see you on the next KIE Live. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining.
Bye bye.